Welcome. My name is Michael Mills. I'm one of the founders of Business Design Corporation, and many of you probably already know this, but there are going to be some people watching this video out in that universe that don't know who I am, so I just wanted to begin with a brief introduction of who I am and what we were doing here. We also have a software application called the TouchStone Business System, which is designed to help businesses organize and implement, that is a key word today, organize and implement their operating procedures so that they can create consistency and reliability with the goal of creating abundance for everybody in the organization, including senior management and the owner, so they don't have to be working all the time. They can be successful whether or not they are there, working in the business or outside of the business. Well, how do you make that happen? You make that happen by having processes in your business, but it's not just about having processes. It's about making sure that they're implemented. And so that's what I'm going to speak to today. And I'm speaking specifically to a course that we're going to run called the Management Course, an implementation workshop. One of the differences between this course and the other courses that I've been running is that we're going to be doing work in this workshop. We're going to be customizing your processes. To begin, I want to talk about a webinar that I went to earlier this week. It was by a guy named David Finkel. David is one of the founders of Maui Mastermind. It's a fairly well-known organization. And David was giving a presentation on the steps to creating a process-dependent business. He very much speaks our language. But he gave a very interesting metaphor at the end. He said that most small businesses think that all they have to do is get great people. And he called this team, T-E-A-M. And he said, but that is basically, it looks a little like a mushroom, but it's supposed to be one leg on a three-legged stool. The second leg he called processes. And processes became the second leg on a three-legged stool. And the third leg he called culture, which I thought was a very interesting term to use. So we're going to talk about this here, because really what we're talking about when we talk about the implementation workshop, we're talking about what David Finkel called culture. Culture is the way we do it here. If you've got a great team, which again I think is really important, you've got to have great people. If you've got a lot of great documentation, a lot of processes well documented, if the team is not using the processes, then it breaks down. The investment that you made in getting your processes documented is going to get lost. But if you've got a culture of a process-dependent business, then people want to use your processes. They want to contribute to the innovation of your processes. So how do you build a culture of a process-dependent business? Well, it begins in the hiring stage, right? So let's just assume you're bringing on a new employee. So you've got recruiting and hiring. During the recruiting and hiring stage, you have a very systematic approach to make sure that you get the right person for the right position for your company. So they've got to believe in your purpose, they've got to believe in your mission, and they've got to believe in your values. If they don't believe in your purpose, mission, and values, and the vision that you have for your company, they shouldn't be coming on board. And I said a lot about this in the video that I put out last week. I went into this in great detail. But part of the recruiting and hiring process is making sure that the team that you get is a good fit for your company, and part of it is a good fit for the position that they will be filling. So we're going to actually download the recruiting and hiring process. Most of you who already have this process in your account will probably have not customized it, but we will make sure it's there and we will customize it together in this workshop. We're going to take this recruiting and hiring process and we're going to make sure that the questions that you ask during the hiring process, during the interviewing process, etc., all the work plans, all the questions, all the content for this process makes sense for your company and for your managers. Once you get the person interviewed and you give them a hiring letter, the next step is going to be your onboarding and orientation. Not enough room for me to put it in here. So onboarding and orientation. And what happens now is you got to make sure that you're ready for this new employee. Do you have his computer set up or her desk set up? Do you have a credit card for them? Do you have all the passcodes? Have you done the background checks? Have you done the criminal checks? Check mark, check mark, check mark. A checklist for everything that you need when you hire a new employee. Everything you go through the checklist and make sure that when they arrive, you're ready for them. And when they arrive during the orientation section, I mean, maybe it's not this grand, but literally you meet them at the door, you welcome them, you give them their business cards, you show them around your office, and you take care of them. You take them out for lunch, you introduce them to everybody, and again, it's a checklist, it's a system, it's a process. You walk them through everything. Imagine if you've done this with your employees, they're going to be blown away by how systematic things are in your organization. Then it goes to training. So you have a training process. The training process, you're going to walk them through each of the processes that is on their job description and each of the process tools that are part of each of those processes. And you will check off, done, 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 done. TouchStone will timestamp that for you. We're going to customize this. We're going to make sure that the next recruit that you've got a work plan for that. And you can walk through this training process to make sure that that new employee is going to be well trained. At the end of this training process, they don't have to remember everything because when they log into TouchStone, everything will be served up to them. So everything they need is at their fingertips. Then there's the evaluation. And typically what we see here is there are actually two types of evaluation. There's the probationary period and then there's the annual evaluation. So you'll have a 30, 60, and you'll have an annual one. But let's just save that for later. So now you have this point where you know whether or not this person is going to continue with your company. And it's a fixed point. It's going to be 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days, depending on the complexity of the position and the processes that they need to follow. But it's going to be that. And at the end of that period, if it's go or no go. If it's go, they proceed on. If it's no go, you go back to recruiting. And you start the whole process again. But if it's a go, the next step is management. And this is the one-on-one process. These are the weekly or twice a month or once a month at a minimum meetings with your reporting employees where you focus on not only their projects and addressing their questions, but you focus on processes. You focus on their job description. You check in on what innovations do you have on the existing processes. Are we still doing it this way? This is the way we do it here. Are we still doing it that way, or have there been changes? And then finally, the sixth, I thought this would be a great process to throw in here, effective task delegation. This is going to teach you how to effectively delegate a task. I mean, it's sort of obvious, right? But how to get feedback loops, how to check in with them to make sure that you're not just setting them off on their own to do the wrong thing. I actually had a client who was an accountant, and she had a timeline to get all of this content put in, and she set one of her bookkeepers on the project, and the day before the taxes were due, she went to look at it and found out that all of the information had been entered incorrectly. It was the whole wrong year of content. She should have had a feedback loop. She ended up spending a ridiculous amount of time doing it herself, staying up 24 hours. She did get it done, but it was not the way it should have been done. She did not effectively delegate that task. So we've got a task delegation process that we're going to teach you and that we're going to customize for you. So what we have here is we have 6 meetings. Each meeting, we will tackle the customization of each one of these processes. For the first 20 people who register, in addition to the 6 meetings, we will have 1 meeting prior to the weekly meeting, plus 1 meeting after. So the meetings will be on Thursdays. And for those first 20 people, there will be an additional meeting on Wednesday and an additional meeting on Friday. So basically you're getting 200% more time with our process developers, and we will make sure that you get those processes customized. You don't have to attend these 2 meetings, or you can attend 1, and if you're caught up with everything, which my goal is to make sure that everybody gets caught up in the class, but if you don't, you've got these 2 extra days, provided you're one of the first 20 people who register. So click to apply. Make sure that you schedule an appointment with me. The application process is going to be a short meeting with me to make sure that I know that it's a good fit for you. And remember that we will give you your TouchStone account included in the course, and all of these processes are currently pre-written. They're templates that you'll download into your account, and then we will edit together. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, but click that button to apply. I expect that this course is going to fill up pretty quickly. And thank you for listening. Talk to you soon.